Hello grade 7s, we're continuing with decimal fractions today and place value. Now just a reminder from yesterday's lesson that the letters to the left of the decimal comma are always capital letters, whole numbers, and the letters to the right of the decimal comma, which are the fractions, are baby letters or lowercase letters. Now I want to put the following numbers into the place value table. So let's look at the first one. 3 units. Units are whole numbers, so the 3 would go there. 5 tenths would go in the tenths column. 4 hundredths would go in the hundredths column, and 7 thousandths would go in the thousandths column. And we must bring our comma down. So our answer to the first one is 3,547. Let's look at the next one. 300 plus 45 plus 5 over 10. Well, the 300 is a whole number. There are no commas there. And the 45 is also a whole number, so we know that they are going to go on the left of the decimal comma. 300 starts in the hundreds column, and 45 starts in the tens column. What about the 5 tenths? Well, remember that the number at the bottom, the denominator, tells us which column it must go into, the tenths column. So it's going to go into the tenths column. And don't forget to put a 0 in the units place. Now we can add that up. And we have 345, 5. Let's look at the next one. 5 hundredths plus 5 hundredths. There is no th in there. Hundreds, it is this column here. So 500 looks like that. 5 hundredths is a fraction. So it must go in the hundredths column. Replace the empty space with a 0, and your number is 500,05. Now if we look at place value and value, we often get these confused. Place value and value, or we can also call it total value. Now the place value is looking at the place where is the number placed, which column is it in. And the value of a number is asking you how much it is worth. So if we look at this 5, place value is asking you where it is, and it is in the hundreds column. So your answer would be 100 or 100. The total value, how much is this 5 worth? It is worth 500. Let's look at the other 5. What is the place value of that 5? Well, we're asking you where is it placed. It's in the hundredths column, so your answer would be hundredth. What is the total value? How much is it worth? It is worth 0,05 or hundredths. Let's have a look at this fraction here. I want to write 116 hundredths as a decimal fraction. There are many ways of working this out. We could put it into the columns. Or we could break it up. If we put it into the columns, this is our clue. Hundredths. That means that this number cannot go past the hundredths column. So if we fill that number into the table like that, and we bring down the comma, the decimal fraction is 1,16. It has a whole number, because you will notice that 116 is bigger than 100. It is an improper fraction. So 100 fits into 116 once, with a fraction of 16 left over. Let's look at another of those. If I have got 16 thousandths and I want to write it as a decimal fraction, I know that it has to end in the thousandths column. So it needs to end in that column. And I need to replace the other columns with a 0. So there is my answer. 0,016, or 16 thousandths. Grade 7s in exercise 7.2. Number 1 is asking you to write the following expanded numbers in decimal notation. You may want to use your place value table to help you. Please don't just guess. Rather, draw up your own table and write your number into the table. Question 2 is asking you to write the fractions as decimal numbers. Remember that the denominator tells you where the number ends, which column the last number can be in. Question 3 is asking you to give the place value and the total value of each of the underlined digits.